Hey guys, I'm Steven Saras and I'm doing a reflection on the recent films I have created this semester. I think
What are you doing?
I'm doing my interview.
What interview?
The film reflection.
You mean the reflection that I'm supposed to do?
But you asked me to do it.
Ask if you could get the camera set up while I get ready, not say that you're me.
I could be you.
I think people can tell that you're not me.
I could do a better job than you anyway.
Would you just get up so I can get this done? Hey guys, I'm director, writer, and actor Steven Saras, and today we are reflecting on the last three films that I've made: Memories, Don't Interrupt Coffee Time, and Goodnight Andromeda. These three films for me stand out above anything that I've created beforehand, and I think it's because they are so different tonally and it makes them unique. Memories is happy and lighthearted and focuses on its stunning visuals, where Goodnight Andromeda is this dark and gritty film set in this sci-fi world, and I think that Coffee Time, it comes in between, and it's a nice balance between the two. When it comes to my process of filmmaking, I look at my previous work and I take all the problems and I focus on making sure that they aren't problems anymore. So for these three films, what I was looking at was cinematic visuals, sound design, and visual effects. Memories was an interview with photographer Naomi Trimby, and we talked about her inspirations and how she goes about taking photos. So after shooting the interview, all we did was go to two locations. All I said to her was, get your camera and go and take photos. Me with my camera and my stabilizer just followed her around and made sure I got stunning visuals that made the film look incredible, but also connected with Naomi's style of photography. Close-ups, very detail-oriented, beautiful colors. All of those things is what I was looking for when taking these videos. When we finished, we had about 4 hours of B-roll footage, and every bit of footage looked exactly like the footage that you see in the film. So the hardest part of this film was actually just cutting it down to size. With Don't Interrupt Coffee Time, I took the typical argument of one of the partners always taking too long to get ready whenever they're going somewhere. I made the man have no filter, therefore everything he says are just his thoughts being projected, and I made the woman an all-powerful god. I let them have the argument and let it unfold, as it were, terribly. My favorite aspect about making this film was the conversation scene, where Naomi's character and my character are communicating. I'm talking through my thoughts, my consciousness is being projected, and Naomi is just talking. When we were shooting that, it is just Naomi staring at a wall, acting, reading out her lines, and doing a terrific job of it, and her being completely unaware that I am acting and giving facial expressions and all of those things behind her. And I really have to give props to her because she was working off of nothing, whereas I was working off of her and her lines and her reactions, but she was working with dead silence and a wall in front of her. When Naomi's character turns around and begins to lose it, the actual production of that was probably the most difficult. At the same time, I'm holding this massive red light and in the other hand, holding a leaf blower for the wind and all of the effects to fit perfectly. We got the shots though, and they came out very well, but that was definitely the most difficult part, making sure that we could do it and it all worked together. Goodnight Andromeda was my biggest film of the three, and is definitely the one that I'm most proud of. The concept behind Goodnight Andromeda came from my good friend Luca. Luca pitched this film to our TV production class. While he was pitching, I fell so in love with the idea that as he's pitching in the video call, we were on Zoom, and as he was pitching in the video call, I was in the chat box explaining to our teachers how it could be made. Unfortunately, they didn't pick it up, and they believed that there wouldn't be enough time to make it and script it and all of these things, and they just thought that it was not possible that we could make it. Now, I am stubborn to say the least, and I believe that it could be made. So I told Luca, I said, with your permission, can we make it? He said yes, and me, Luca, Ash, and Lachlan all came together to work on this project. And in the time that they said that we couldn't make Goodnight Andromeda. We made our own short films. I made Coffee Time, they made their respective films, and we all made Goodnight Andromeda in the same time frame, which for me is something that I'm quite proud of, especially given what we created. Goodnight Andromeda is dark and gritty, but it's also very visual effects based, which was probably the most time consuming part of it. What's great about it is the story. The story element is much more complex than anything that I've written before. I took Lucas' project, his concept, I reworked it, redesigned it, gave it my own flair, and we threw it straight in and we put our all into making this project. My favorite part of the project is actually this one little bit. It is the second the main character's eyes light up and you see the first person shot and the HUD turns on and then these ads start coming down the page. Those ads actually lay out everything that's going to be discussed in the film, which I just think is a nice little thing. And if you don't pause to look, you don't know that that's what's going on. Like, everything has a reason. There are Easter eggs throughout the entire film. I think 15 Easter eggs. I think there are 15 Easter eggs in it. And just knowing that some people who have watched it a few times now still haven't found all of them is such a great feeling to have, because it's just like this little hunt and this little game inside the film. I think the story, though, the actual story in itself is so good. It's a reflection on us as a society. We talk about so many things in this film, and we don't talk about them in depth. We don't talk about them in various detail, but we acknowledge them and we point to them and say, this is something that may be happening in this future world, but it's happening to us. It's happening here. We look at discrimination. I took the pandemic into a factor. I took just people in power, the government, all of those things into factors. And then I gave it this sci-fi flair, but I also put this main character front and center. Throughout the film, you assume that he's watching it and that he's engaged and he's scared and he's worried and he's frantic about what's going on. But then to find at the end of the film, he's not even focused on what's going on, that he's turning a blind eye to it. And there are questions to be made about who this character is, and there are hints towards that throughout the film. But the main thing is, he's a member of this society. He's a member of this city that is failing right at his feet, and he's not even focused on it. He's not caring about it. All of these things are happening around him. The city is on fire, and he's just not there. He's not for it. He doesn't care. Is this a reflection on everyone else in the city? Is that why the city's burning? Or is he just one separate from the crowd? That's for the audience to decide. And that's something else that I love about it. This whole film, so much of it is for the audience to decide. You decide what you think is going on. You tell me what you think that I mean when I put what I put in there. When I talk about androids, well, you tell me what you think is going to happen next. When I talk about the superhuman from the stars, what do you think is going to happen next? And that's what I love about this film so much, is that I leave it all up to you. It is your choice. You decide what happens. That's why Goodnight Andromeda is my favorite out of the three. I could not have made the films that I made if it wasn't for the people that were working with me. If it wasn't for Lachlan, Ash, and Luca, I would not have been able to make Andromeda. Even if it wasn't for my mum, I wouldn't have been able to make Andromeda. She helped so much with setting up and makeup, and I couldn't have done anything that I've done this year if it wasn't for Naomi. She has helped me so much through all of the projects that I made. I am more than happy with what I've produced this year. In fact, I have never been prouder of the work that I've created. This semester, I have gone above and beyond with what I've made, and it's because of everyone around me, helping me, bringing me up, and ensuring that I can make the best quality that I can. That all shows in my work that I've produced this year. I'm Ephstathios, and thank you for watching my films, and I hope you continue to do so.